there's never a dull day in this industry, and insane. So we're Friday, what are we, 5th of December. We recorded an episode last night where we're wrapping 2025, and we were talking about M&A. We were talking about who's going to get Warner Bros. And today we get the news.
Yeah, it broke last night, overnight. Lucas Shaw broke it. And it's that, I'm going to put this in correct terms. Warner Brothers Discovery has chosen the bid from Netflix as the winning bid to acquire not the entire company, but the streaming division and the studio division only, not the linear networks division.
Yeah.
And it's breathless news that came through. It also comes on the back of a very interesting day in this story yesterday. Yesterday, David Ellison, aka the Nepo Prince, demonstrated what a spoiled brat he actually is by sending a public letter to David Zaslav and the board of WBD saying he didn't believe the process was running fairly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he said, he basically clearly got an indication that he hadn't won, that in retrospect, this is clear what happened. Someone called him to inform him that Netflix had been chosen as the winner and that they were going to announce it shortly. And in response to that, this spoiled brat, like throwing a tantrum in the sandbox in the playground, said, "I don't like this." And literally the letter says, "I don't believe you're running this process fairly." To which the board replied, "Well, that's bullshit." Openly, like they're pissing at each other. Then this morning, there was a really fascinating piece in my favorite newsletter that isn't one of ours, Status by Oliver Darcy, which detailed a pissing match between Nepo Prince Ellison and the chief officer of Failing Up, David Zaslav, over South Park. And them having a deal, $1 billion deal for HBO Max to continue to license South Park, non-exclusively, by the way, in this new deal. And that Ellison shook hands on the deal and then rescinded the deal and tried to renegotiate everything. And that pissed Zaslav off. And they got into basically a through lawyers pissing match. And what Darcy was saying is this is now producing itself in the bidding process for Warner Brothers Discovery, because Zaslav is basically saying fuck you to Ellison, probably in part due to this argument they got into. And then Ellison writing this really embarrassing, like in the history of corporate correspondence, probably the most embarrassing letter I've ever read out loud or seen. So yeah, that's where we are. And now we are in a position where ostensibly, and I use that term carefully, Warner Brothers Discovery has chosen Netflix as the winner. And now that deal has to be approved by the shareholders and by, and this is where the difficulty comes into play, regulators.
Yeah. And well, the thing that I will say is, besides maybe any, mishaps between, Ellison and Zaslav, we spoke about that, right? And the fact that this was a great deal. Like, financially speaking, it's the best offer, right?
As a shareholder, it's probably the best offer because it's all in cash, which is what David Zaslav loves more than anything, including probably his children. And then that's not fair. He probably loves his children, but he loves cash just as much. And actually, on behalf of the consumers, there's been a lot of chatter about how this will allow Netflix to raise prices. I don't think that will work. I think people will cancel before they pay Netflix more. But from the perspective of the consumer, not having to pay for both HBO Max and Netflix, that's going to save me money. And so I think this is, of the offers, likely the best offer on paper. I just don't think, and here's the complication, I don't think it'll get approved. I don't think there's any way in hell this deal gets approved by the people who have to approve it, which is the Attorney General of the United States of America, who's incredibly corrupt, the Attorney General of the state of California, who isn't corrupt and does not like this deal. And there's numerous reasons why the Attorney General of California does not like this deal. And then there's members of Congress who have already started attacking Netflix over this deal.
It's mostly for, political reason, right? That they would reject that. Because if you look at this deal from a competition law standpoint, it feels like it's raising less question than Paramount plus Warner
Certainly less
Bros.
than Paramount or Comcast would, because both Paramount and Comcast own studios. So this would basically leave one less studio on the planet
Yeah.
Earth. But the Attorney General of the state of California is against the deal because they believe that it will limit the amount of content produced and sold in the state of California in particular, which is why they care about this, that it's going to have a deleterious effect on the industry itself in California, which is already a shit show.
Struggling.
It's a
Yeah, for sure.
disaster. And so, you can see where the governor and attorney general of California have the non-political reasons. I mean, for votes maybe, as opposed to Pam Bondi, who is the most corrupt attorney general in the history of the United States, which is a very high bar, and members of Congress who are also sycophants of the current president, who know that he wants the Ellisons to get this deal. So those are definitely political reasons. The governor and attorney general of California have,
Less so. Okay.
I think they're looking out for the taxpayers of their state. And so, but so that means you're going to get attacked from both sides of the political spectrum if
For
you're
different
Netflix.
reasons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But so, this thing about having less outcome for the creative communities, you have that as well with Paramount plus Warner. That's what I don't really necessarily get. I would
I
say
think that
even
deal
more
will.
so.
I think that deal would be harder fought by the same people in California. And then what you have on the other side is Elizabeth Warren and other members of Congress saying this is clearly against the concept of antitrust, which it absolutely is. By the way, there is no way that a Paramount acquisition of all of Warner Brothers Discovery would ever be approved in any other administration in the history
Yeah.
of the United States. It would never get approved. By the way, neither would probably a Comcast. So all three are kind of problematic, which is why none of them really make all that much sense. I mean,
Yeah.
Warner Brothers Discovery and Netflix combined makes the most sense, but that's like saying I'm the tallest Jew. I'm definitely not. It's just like, okay, I guess if this is the only one you have in the room, okay, fine. It's the best of the worst outcomes. In reality, what would be best for the shareholders and employees of Warner Brothers Discovery is if Apple bought them and invested billions
You
of
and Apple.
dollars.
Stop it. Stop
'Cause they
it.
have no
They've
overlap
I
there.
know, but they've spent so much money on the F1 for nothing. They are clearly not in the business of expanding the library. They don't want to do that. Otherwise, they would have placed a bid.
Well, we'll see. I mean, Tim Cook is about to be replaced finally. They are doing a search for
Yeah.
CEO, and I think that company completely changes his outlook with a different CEO on board. Like, what if Ted Sarandos gets made CEO of Apple? Would you
Okay.
change your mind then?
Uh,
I mean, that could happen. Ted Sarandos is definitely near the top of the list of people. I mean, I'm not on the top of the list, but Ted Sarandos would absolutely be on my short list of potential CEOs.
I think it's a lip. I don't know. I mean, all the love for Ted. I'm sorry, running Apple, running Netflix, not the same thing.
Very
the same
different
thing.
jobs. Absolutely.
And this thing saying that Netflix is a technology company, it is to some extent, but just within, entertainment. This is such a small
Ted's
business,
never done anything
right?
like that. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, and especially at a time where, we've said it, right? Apple's services business, it is, becoming a bigger portion of the overall, although
All
it
the
is
more
kind of
reason
yeah,
all the more
I
reason
get that.
someone with Ted's profile makes,
Yeah,
or
but
Iger's
yeah,
profile, or
you
someone like,
still
"Oh,
need
Iger's too
to
old."
get the rest of the business going, and I think he has no experience doing that.
Well,
But
we're getting off
then
track. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we're
So
getting off track completely. But so no, one thing that I will say is what I'm seeing from my side of the ocean is like the timing is horrendous. Earlier
why?
this week, Warner Bros. Discovery announced
Oh, yeah.
and gave the exact launch dates for HBO Max in Italy and in Germany, with the UK following. So essentially, within Q1 of next year, it is launched, and it's long overdue, right? Because we've
Yeah,
spoken
they
about that at
waited
length.
way, way too long to
Well,
to
because
launch.
HBO was focused on its
Channel
historical,
business, yeah.
output deal business with Sky. But oh my God, the timing! All of these people will have spent this entire year working towards that launch. That actually explains why Clément Schwebig next year is moving to RTL. I think he was like, I don't want to be near
I
this.
wanna get out of this mess. Yeah,
Let
yeah,
me
yeah.
get a job somewhere else. The other thing is the impact on the studio business and the overall theatrical business. And the first few words from Ted, let me quote Ted, on that conference call are not reassuring. Essentially, he's saying that, it's going to evolve. The theatrical window is going to evolve. It's going to be consumer friendly. What do you mean by that? Well, what he means by that, of course, is that he's not going to be running the WBD business the way it was run. Or if he does, he'll do it the first 12 months. And then as soon as he can, he will grab. This is why they're spending so much money, right? They need HBO. And I think it's a nice addition. Potentially, it's you acquire a few new subs. I think it acts as, a great
Mostly an
retention
IP.
tool.
Yeah, it's you're
But
right,
it's
I
the
agree.
IP, right? The IP within HBO and all of those movie IPs,
I
because
also I think
Netflix sucks at movies.
something that people keep sleeping on is I also think it's a major advertising move. I think there's a whole aspect of their business that they just can't get off the ground that this helps with.
How
But
so?
just more content. The more
Mm,
content to put ads in an ad sales division that actually sells advertising as opposed to holds guns to people's heads, although they're not that great at it. But let's
yeah,
put that
the legacy linear business is good at ad sales, but this will not be part of this deal. If you look
no.
at HBO Max, right?
Yeah, their ad load
Uh,
is very low.
Well, that, and in a lot of markets, they're making deals with others to help them do the ad sale.
Right, but
In the UK, it's going to be Sky.
if you're getting the HGTV content and the Discovery Network's content as
Mm,
part of this, which is it's a good question. I don't it's hard to understand how
no.
you separate Discovery from HBO Max. But let's say you're just getting a shit ton of content. That's the thing that Netflix needs. They have not enough what would I would call, HGTV type content, frankly. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
that stuff just is you can watch
yeah,
10,000 hours of it in a row and never get bored with it. If you love house flipping or you love food shows,
yeah.
this is a thing that really works. But I think this is where I really disagree with you. You don't buy the Batman franchise to put it on streaming directly. There's
I
no
hope not.
scenario. Say
Yeah,
again?
I hope not.
Well, it doesn't make financial sense. There's
Mm,
just so much money that's generated by the theatrical window of the superhero
yeah,
continuum, um, that it makes absolutely no sense to start putting that stuff directly to streaming. You can get your window here. I mean, I've watched Batman 100 times. I saw it in the movie
yeah,
theaters. I watch it on HBO Max. I watch it when it's on regular television. Like I
yeah.
just
I
will
do that
continue
too.
to watch it. I mean, I watch Wonder Woman over and over again. I love those movies, and I am not alone in that. So
Yeah,
every window makes them money. And then there's all the merchandise sales that goes along with that is really bolstered by that first theatrical window. So I think Ted becomes a different kind of executive when he gets a real movie studio to run, which is, I think, part of the attraction for him, to be blunt. Like on one hand, like, this makes a lot of sense for Netflix. On the other hand, this is a big fucking pain in the ass. Like, Ted Sarandos is going to have to haul his ass to DC and Sacramento and testify in front of houses of Congress and houses of a legislator over and over. This is going to be the next year of his life. This is the equivalent of getting a divorce and having lots of kids split. Like, this is the inverse of it, but it's going to soak up so much time, energy, bandwidth, and money. Think about the lawyers. They've guaranteed a breakup fee. Like, if this deal doesn't go through, they have to pay a huge breakup fee. So this is a lot of mishegas for Ted Sarandos and Netflix to go through. And I just feel like they're not doing this because they want to rip apart the business. I think there are other things at play. And I think Ted wants to run a movie studio. I think that's part of it is, hey, what if we did have a viable movie division? If you look at the last year in Warner Brothers, they had an amazing theatrical year. Their theatrical business is the best part of their business right now. Weapons, Barbie, like, they've had a monster couple of years.
It's been a couple of years with Barbie, but yeah.
But every year they've had some real big wins in the theatrical business. Sinners
and some
was
surprise
there.
hits. Yeah.
Sinners,
I was thinking about Sinner earlier this year, which I could not watch. I'm scared easy, but
it's a very scary movie.
To this point about that means that they would then keep the big IP, and I think that's even worse for the rest of the creative, community, because that means that any tier 2, tier 3 movies straight to streaming.
If at best, if they get made at all. Yeah, no, this is terrible for independent film.
Exactly.
This is not a great, you're not going to be able to get smaller movies made anymore unless you truly do what we did with Skit, which is make it yourself and figure out self-distribution. But now Hollywood has become, with this deal, when it closes, if it ever closes, by the way, well, I'll get to that thought in a second. This is the end. This is now the birth of the monoculture of Hollywood society. That is all 4 quadrant stuff all the time. We're talking about McDonald's and Velveeta cheese, 365 for the rest of this decade and moving forward. That said, I don't think this deal closes. If it closes, I think we'll be talking about this deal closing this time next year.
No.
So actually, at the soonest, if it ever closes.
Yeah, we gotta thank them, right? That's this is gold for our, because we've just done our 2025 grading exercise, and we're gonna be doing next week the 2026 prediction. Oh my God, this is gold. This could be an entire article on just that, all the hypotheses. And I've seen. Oh, I don't know about you, but I've been quiet on that. I only say something if I really have something to say, which
on this
we're
merger?
doing right now. But everyone has been sharing this news. LinkedIn was hijacked by this news today.
I started getting pings last night, and so I wrote a long piece on this on LinkedIn today, and then I posted it on my Substack as well. But there were people who were like, "When is Evan Shapiro weighing in about this?" Also, everyone's now beginning to ask, like, "What's so if Disco Bros goes away, what's the new name of this entity?"
No, what are you gonna do? Disco Bros. So what could it be?
It's a good question. I think, well, if it's Warner Brothers, if Discovery's taken out of it and it's Warner Brothers and Netflix, I guess it's like Flix Bros.
Oh, my God.
Net Bros.
Ew, you sound like a boomer. This time I can say it. Oh my goodness.
There's no good name. WBN.
Do you want to mention Blockbuster or something from 30 years ago?
That's actually a good name. It's available. And by the way, this is a good way to bring this round trip. Blockbuster was offered the opportunity to buy Netflix for I don't know, like $1 billion early on in the goings on, and they turned it down. And now Blockbuster, there's one Blockbuster left in North America. I believe it's
a museum, no?
It's in Alaska, actually. And
Interesting.
I think this is a great way to bring back that name. I think the perfect name for the marriage. That's it. That's it. I'm sure
Oh,
I'm going.
I found it.
The
Yes.
perfect name. The perfect name. I will not give you any credit. The perfect
What?
name.
No. Everyone is a witness.
No,
You're
we
not
will
going to
not
do
be.
that.
We will not be airing
Copyright,
this episode
Marion
specifically,
Ranchet,
so I can.
Blockbuster.
That's the
Net,
name, Blockbuster.
Net Bros.
Because they're not going to do anything but blockbusters. That's kind of the thesis is this is a blockbuster only business. This is not about making, little tiny shows anymore.
Of course. Well, that was fun. Maybe
Yeah,
we can
as
go back with our lives
impromptu
now.
episode.
Yeah,
Maybe we
impromptu
should just do this, like,
episode.
whatever we wake up thinking that morning, we'll do an episode that day.
Oh, let's do that and make our producers miserable. Yes.
Okay. Well, it was good to see you on a non-scheduled podcast recording.
Good to see
We're
you
going to
too.
drop this episode now, but please do check out our year-end wrap-up episode. We've also got a really good episode coming up with the executive producer of Frontline and talking about Frontline's YouTube strategy. And then we'll have our predictions episode after that.